Aanya stood at the foot of the old staircase, staring upward as if the steps were guarding a secret no one else could see. The house around her smelled of dust, forgotten memories and the faint scent of wood that had aged in silence. She hadn't visited in years, not since her grandmother passed away. But the letter she received had dragged her back. It said only one thing: the truth waits where your fear began. Those words trembled inside her now. Rayan, her childhood friend who insisted on coming with her, stepped beside her with a careful breath. "It feels like the house is watching us," he murmured. He wasn't wrong. Every corner seemed alive, every shadow too still, every creak too deliberate. Aanya felt it too, but she forced herself to stay steady. She placed her foot on the first step, and instantly a cold shiver crawled up her spine. The wood groaned under her weight. Her heart beat faster, not because of the sound, but because a strange soft whisper floated through the air behind her. A child's voice. A voice she hadn't heard in years but recognized instantly. "If you carry me up the stairs, I'll tell you." Aanya froze. Her breath caught. The whisper wasn't like a memory, it was real, echoing in the hallway. Rayan stiffened and turned. "Aanya, did you hear that?" Her voice shook. I think it was her. She didn't say who, she didn't need to. The sister she lost when they were kids. The sister who vanished one stormy evening and never came home. The sister the town searched for but never found. The voice whispered again, soft but clearer. "Carry me up and I'll tell you everything." Aanya felt her eyes sting. A cold, familiar ache sat in the center of her chest. She whispered back, "Why now? After all these years?" No answer came, only the feeling of something unseen waiting just above them. Rayan touched her hand. "We can leave if you want." She shook her head. "No, I'm done running." She tightened her grip on the railing and stepped up again. She could feel the presence behind her, small and wanting to be held, just like when her sister was alive. Aanya swallowed hard and whispered, "All right, I'll carry you." And as the house exhaled, as if awakened, they began to climb toward the secrets waiting upstairs. The second step groaned loudly under their feet, and Aanya felt a sudden rush of cold air brush against her back. It wasn't the kind of chill that came from weather or an open window. It felt more like someone small, someone familiar, was trying to hold onto her as she climbed. She tried to breathe steadily, but each breath felt heavier than the last. Rayan walked just behind her, keeping his hand close to her shoulder without quite touching it. "Aanya," he whispered, "this place, it doesn't feel empty." She didn't answer. She didn't need to. The growing whispers circling them said enough. They were soft at first, like a child humming to herself. But with every step they grew closer, clearer, almost guiding her upward. "Don't stop, just a little higher. Carry me with you." Anya's fingers trembled on the railing. She knew that voice too well. It carried the same innocence, the same gentleness, the same tiny lilt her sister used when she wanted attention. And yet hearing it now filled Aanya with both hope and terror. She swallowed hard. Halfway up, Rayan stopped. "Aanya, listen to me. What if this isn't her? What if something else is playing with your memories?" She turned her head slightly. "It's her. It has to be her. I've waited my whole life to hear her again." "But why now?" he asked. Aanya shook her head slowly. "Maybe because we're finally ready to hear the truth." The staircase creaked again as they continued climbing. This time the sound wasn't like wood shifting. It was more like footsteps overlapping theirs, as if a third person were climbing with them. Aanya stiffened, but kept moving. Rayan tried to stay calm, though she could hear the fear rising in his breath. His voice dropped lower. "Something is following us." Aanya didn't dare look back. She just whispered, "I know." When they reached the last few steps, the whisper became almost human, almost alive. I waited so long. Don't leave me this time." Anya's throat tightened. "I won't." At the top of the staircase, they found the hallway darker than before, as if the shadows had thickened. The attic door, once tightly shut, now hung slightly open. It wasn't broken. It wasn't forced. It looked as if someone small had gently pushed it open and slipped inside. Rayan exhaled shakily. "That wasn't open earlier." Aanya stepped forward, heart racing. "She wants us to go in." And with the whispering wind behind them, they moved toward the waiting attic. Aanya stepped into the attic doorway as a faint draft brushed against her face, carrying with it a scent she hadn't smelled in years: old paper, rain-soaked wood, and something sweeter like her sister's strawberry lotion. The moment she crossed the threshold, she felt the air shift, as if the room itself took a quiet breath. Rayan lifted his phone, and the flashlight beam sliced through the darkness, revealing countless dust particles floating like tiny ghosts. The attic looked different from how she remembered it. Boxes had been dragged across the floor, scratched wooden marks cutting through the dust, as though someone or something had been searching frantically. Some boxes were overturned, their contents spilled like forgotten secrets. At the far corner near the narrow window stood the old wooden chest their grandmother never allowed them to touch. Even in the dim light, Aanya recognized the carved patterns on its surface. Her breath hitched as the whisper echoed again. "Do you remember?" Aanya The voice wasn't behind her this time, it was inside the attic with them. Rayan tightened his grip on her arm. "Aanya, please tell me you heard that too." Before she could answer, a faint shape appeared beside the chest. Small, fragile, flickering like a candle flame about to go out. The shape slowly became clearer, forming the outline of a little girl no taller than Anya's waist. Anya's heart dropped into her stomach. "It's her. It's really her." Her voice was barely more than a breath. The small figure tilted its head slowly. The blurry outline of a face emerged, and though it flickered, the eyes were unmistakable, soft, round, full of pain and longing. Her sister's eyes. The sight made Anya's knees weaken. "You left me," the little voice whispered. "I was waiting for you to come." Tears gathered in Anya's eyes. "I didn't know where you were. Everyone searched for you." "They didn't search here," the figure replied, "because they didn't want the truth found." And Rayan swallowed hard, unable to hide his fear. "Aanya, what does she mean?" The little girl lifted a trembling hand and pointed at the wooden chest. "Open it," she whispered. "Please. It's time." Aanya hesitated, but something inside her pushed her forward. She knelt in front of the chest, her fingers trembling as she lifted the lid. Inside were old notebooks, photographs, and a cracked locket, but beneath them was something hidden, something covered by a wooden panel. Her sister's voice grew clearer, stronger. "Open the truth." Aanya lifted the panel, revealing a bundle wrapped in cloth. Her entire world shifted. Anya's fingers trembled as she unwrapped the cloth-covered bundle. The air in the attic grew dense, pressing against her chest like an invisible weight. Rayan crouched beside her, his flashlight shaking in his hand. When the last fold of cloth fell away, a stack of fragile papers appeared, yellowed with age, edges curled, ink faded. The top page bore her father's handwriting, shaky and uneven. Aanya opened it carefully. The first line struck her like a blow. Her father wrote about an argument, loud voices, a slip, a scream. Her sister had fallen down the attic stairs. It wasn't deliberate. It wasn't planned. It was a moment of fear, panic, and a terrible mistake. But what came after was worse. Instead of calling for help, instead of facing the truth, her parents hid it. They told the world their daughter had gone missing outside. Their grandmother, horrified but desperate to keep the family from tearing apart, hid the evidence and locked the attic, never speaking of it again. Aanya felt tears fall onto the paper as she whispered, "They lied to everyone, even to me." Rayan placed a steady hand on her back. "Aanya, I'm so sorry." A soft glow lit the attic. Aanya lifted her head. Her sister's spirit stood before her, no longer flickering, no longer hidden in shadows. She looked clearer, warmer, like a memory brought to life. But her eyes were filled with quiet sadness. "I didn't want you to be scared anymore," the small voice said gently. "I wanted you to know why I never came home." Aanya crawled forward, her heart breaking and healing all at once. "I'm so sorry you were alone," she whispered through tears. "I would have carried you. I would have found you. I never forgot you, not even for one day." The little girl stepped closer, her glow softening. "You found me now. That's enough." Rayan watched silently, overwhelmed by the sight. Light spread from the girl's small form, filling the attic like dawn, rising in slow waves. The shadows dissolved, the air warmed, and the house, once cold and heavy, felt suddenly calm. Aanya reached out, though she knew she couldn't touch. The little girl smiled, a tiny fragile smile full of peace. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too," Aanya replied. The spirit began to fade, dissolving into shimmering air. Her voice echoed one last time, soft as a lullaby. "Thank you for carrying me." And then she was gone. Aanya closed her eyes, breathing deeply. The truth hurt, but it freed them both. When she finally stood, Rayan took her hand. Together they walked out of the attic, leaving behind the secrets, but carrying the peace they had finally earned.